Chosen one, a work that will make you millionaire, God decided. What if I told you that everything you believe about becoming a millionaire is completely wrong? Yes, you heard that right. Today's message isn't just another motivational talk. It's a divine declaration about your destiny as a chosen one, and the work that God has already decided will make you a millionaire. You know what makes this message different. It's not about hustle culture, grinding 24/7, or following some guru's secret formula. This is about something far more powerful, a divine selection that's already happened. And if you're watching this right now, trust me, it's no coincidence. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stumble into success while you work twice as hard? Or why your prayers for a financial breakthrough seem to go unanswered? What if I told you that those struggles weren't failures, but preparation? Remember those nights when you felt like giving up, those moments when the bills seemed overwhelming? That's exactly why you're here right now. But here's the plot twist. God has been watching, and he's about to flip your story in ways that will leave everyone speechless. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your current financial situation is actually perfect timing, the exact signs that show you're chosen for wealth, how God is orchestrating your millionaire breakthrough, and most importantly, the divine purpose behind your coming wealth. Now, if you've ever felt that deep down knowing that you're meant for more, that God has bigger plans for your finances, I want you to type 770, 7 in the comments. This isn't just any number. It's a declaration of agreement with your divine selection. And stick around until the end, because what I'm about to share isn't just life-changing, it's destiny-altering. Your breakthrough isn't coming. It's already been decided. So, let me show you exactly what God revealed about your financial destiny. Part 1. Divine Selection and Recognition. Have you ever wondered why some people seem chosen for greatness while others struggle? What if I told you that right now, in this very moment, you're standing at the threshold of divine selection? And what if everything you've been through, every setback, every financial struggle, was actually preparing you for this exact moment? Let me take you back to a story that mirrors your situation perfectly. Picture this. A young shepherd boy, probably considered the least likely to succeed in his family. Sound familiar? This was David, and his story is about to blow your mind in ways that connect directly to your financial breakthrough. You see, before David became King David, that King David with all the wealth and influence, he was just the kid who got stuck watching sheep while his more qualified brothers did the important work. Talk about a dead-end job, right? But here's where it gets interesting. When the prophet Samuel came looking for the next king, nobody, and I mean nobody, even thought to call David in from the fields. They paraded all his tall, strong, impressive-looking brothers in front of Samuel. And God's response? He basically said, "Nah, not these guys." I can just imagine Samuel standing there, probably thinking, seriously, God, none of them? But here's the kicker, and this is where your story comes in. God wasn't looking at bank accounts, resumes, or social status. He was looking at something deeper. In 1 Samuel 16:7, God drops this truth bomb. The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Now let's fast forward to today. You might be sitting there thinking, but I'm not exactly living the high life right now. Maybe you're working a job that feels beneath your potential. Maybe your bank account doesn't reflect your true worth. Maybe, just like David, people have overlooked you, underestimated you, or flat out dismissed you. But here's the plot twist that's about to change everything. Just like David, your current situation isn't your final destination. It's your preparation ground. Those financial struggles, they're building your character. Those moments when you felt overlooked, they're developing your humility. That job that seems like a dead end, it's actually your training ground for wealth management. Think about it. David didn't just go from shepherd boy to king overnight. He had to learn leadership while watching sheep. He had to learn courage fighting lions and bears. He had to learn humility serving a king who literally tried to kill him. And through it all, God was working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail. And that's exactly what's happening in your life right now. Every financial setback, every closed door, every moment of frustration. God has been using it all to prepare you for the wealth He's about to release into your life. Just like David was chosen long before he wore the crown, you've been selected for financial prosperity long before you see the physical evidence. But here's where your story gets even more interesting than David's. You see, David had to wait years between his anointing and his coronation. But we're living in an accelerated season. God is speeding up the process for His chosen ones in these last days. The wealth transfer that's coming your way, it's not operating on human timing. It's operating on divine timing. It's operating on divine timing. So when you look in the mirror tonight, I want you to see what God sees. Not someone struggling to make ends meet, but a chosen vessel selected for supernatural wealth transfer. Not just another person trying to get by, but a modern-day David about to step into divine prosperity. And speaking of divine prosperity, what I'm about to share next will show you exactly how God is positioning you for this wealth transfer. But first, you need to understand the profound shift that's happening in the spiritual realm right now. This story of your divine selection isn't just about money, it's about purpose. Just like David's wealth served a greater purpose in building the temple, your coming financial breakthrough is designed to impact generations. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into next. Part 2. The season of struggle ends now. Have you ever felt like you're swimming against an endless tide of financial struggles? Like every time you take one step forward, life pushes you 2 steps back? What if I told you that these struggles aren't just random circumstances, but actually part of a divine preparation? Let me share something powerful with you. Back in 2019, I met Sarah, a single mother of 3 who was working 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. Every night, she'd count pennies at her kitchen table, trying to figure out how to stretch her last $20 until payday. Sound familiar? But here's where it gets interesting. You see, Sarah's story mirrors one of the most profound examples of financial transformation in the Bible. The story of Job. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh great, another Job story. But stick with me because this isn't your Sunday school version. Job was the wealthiest man in the East. He had it all. Business empire, perfect family, pristine reputation. Then boom, everything crashed. Lost his businesses, his children, his reputation, even his health. His friends, just like some of yours right now, turned into critics. His wife told him to give up on God. Sounds a bit like your situation, doesn't it? But here's the plot twist that nobody talks about. Job's season of struggle wasn't just a test. It was a setup for supernatural multiplication. God wasn't just testing Job's faith. He was preparing him for double portion prosperity. Did you catch that? Double portion prosperity? Think about it. Job ended up with twice as much as he had before. Twice the wealth, twice the influence, twice the impact. But here's the kicker, and this is what most people miss. Job's breakthrough didn't come when he figured everything out. It came when he realized that God had already figured it out for him. Now let's bring this back to you. Those sleepless nights, worrying about bills. God sees them. Those moments when you had to choose between paying rent or buying groceries. He's counted every tear. That embarrassment when you couldn't afford to join your friends for dinner. He's writing your comeback story right now. But here's what makes your situation different from just another financial struggle. Just like Job, you're not just going through a hard time. You're going through a divine positioning. Every no from the bank, every rejected application, every failed business attempt. They're not failures. They're fence posts, marking the boundaries of your breakthrough territory. You know what's fascinating? In biblical times, there was something called the Year of Jubilee. Every 50 years, all debts were canceled, all property returned, all slaves freed. It was God's divine reset button for the economy. And guess what? We're entering a spiritual jubilee season right now. Your season of struggle isn't just ending, it's ending with a divine compensation package. Let me break this down practically. When Sarah finally understood this truth, things started shifting. Within 6 months, she received 3 unexpected opportunities. A business idea she'd shelved years ago suddenly found funding. People who'd ignored her calls were now calling her. Sound impossible? That's exactly what supernatural breakthrough looks like. But here's what you really need to understand about this divine shift that's happening in your life. It's not just about ending your struggles. It's about positioning you for something far bigger than you've imagined. And that's exactly what I'm going to reveal next. Remember, your struggle isn't your story. It's just the setup for your success. Your season of lack isn't your legacy. It's just the launch pad for your abundance. God hasn't brought you this far to leave you here. He's brought you this far to launch you into a level of prosperity that will make your past problems look like preparation. Your breakthrough isn't just coming. It's already been decided in the courts of heaven. And what God has decided, no man can reverse. And speaking of divine decisions, wait until you hear what God has specifically declared about your millionaire status. This next revelation will completely transform how you see your current situation. Part 3. The Divine Breakthrough Revelation. Have you ever wondered why some biblical figures went from absolute poverty to extraordinary wealth seemingly overnight? Did you know that before Joseph became the second most powerful man in Egypt, he was literally in a prison cell? And what if I told you that your breakthrough is following the exact same divine pattern? Let me share something remarkable that happened just last month during my morning prayer. As I was studying the biblical patterns of divine wealth transfer, God revealed something extraordinary about financial breakthroughs that left me speechless. This isn't just another prosperity message. This is about a divine declaration that's already been made over your life. You see, in the Bible, we find a fascinating pattern. Think about Joseph for a moment. Picture this. He's in a dark, damp Egyptian prison cell, probably wondering if God had forgotten him. The smell of mildew fills the air. The sound of chains echoes through stone corridors. He's gone from being his father's favorite son to being a forgotten prisoner in a foreign land. Have you ever felt like that? Like you're stuck in your own kind of prison? Maybe it's debt. Maybe it's a dead-end job. Maybe it's a failing business. But here's where it gets interesting. In Genesis 41, we see something remarkable. Joseph goes from that prison cell to Pharaoh's palace in less than 24 hours. Not in years, not in months, in hours. One moment he's wearing prison rags, the next he's dressed in royal robes. One moment he's interpreting dreams for fellow prisoners, the next he's solving economic crises for an entire nation. But wait, because this pattern repeats throughout Scripture. Remember David? He went from shepherd boy to king. Elect in one day. Daniel, from captive to prime minister in an afternoon. Esther, from unknown Jewish girl to queen of Persia in a single selection process. Now, here's the revelation that changed everything for me. God doesn't need time to make you wealthy. He needs alignment. These biblical figures didn't become successful through years of hustle. Their breakthrough came when divine timing met divine purpose. And this is where it gets personal for you. God has already decided the work that will make you a millionaire. It's not about finding the right business strategy or investment opportunity. It's about stepping into what's already been ordained for you. You see, just like Joseph's appointment was already decided before he even knew about it, your millionaire status has already been determined in the spiritual realm. The only difference is timing. And just as Joseph needed to interpret that dream to step into his destiny, There are specific signs and signals God is sending you right now. Let me share something that might shock you. Your current financial struggles. They're actually part of the preparation process. Just like Joseph needed the prison experience to develop the character for palace prosperity, your challenges are building something in you that mere money could never buy. Think about it. Have you noticed unusual dreams about business opportunities lately? Random people mentioning specific industries to you, recurring thoughts about a particular type of work. These aren't coincidences. They're divine breadcrumbs leading you to your breakthrough. This is why traditional financial advice often fails believers. They're looking for market trends when they should be looking for divine signals. They're studying stock charts when they should be studying their spiritual assignments. And here's the most exciting part. Just like Joseph's transformation happened suddenly, your financial breakthrough is not going to be gradual. It's going to be supernatural. One day you'll be where you are, and the next, everything will change. Contracts will appear, opportunities will open up, divine connections will be established. The question isn't if this will happen. God has already decided that. The question is, are you ready? Are you positioned for the palace while you're still in the prison? But before I reveal the exact signs that show you're on the verge of this breakthrough, let me show you something even more powerful about how God is positioning you right now in the marketplace. Remember, just as Joseph's rise to wealth wasn't about his business acumen, but his divine positioning, your millionaire breakthrough isn't about your skills or experience. It's about God's declaration over your life. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to recognize and step into this divine declaration. Part 4. God's specific plan for your wealth. Have you ever wondered why some of the greatest wealth transfers in history happened at precisely the right moment? What if I told you that right now? In this very season, God is orchestrating something even more extraordinary for his chosen ones. And what if you're one of them? Let me take you back to an ancient story that mirrors exactly what's happening right now. Picture this. Joseph, a young man with nothing but dreams, thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned unjustly. Sound familiar? Maybe you've felt thrown into your own pit of financial struggle, betrayed by those you trusted, or imprisoned by circumstances beyond your control. But here's where it gets interesting. And trust me, this is where your story takes an unexpected turn. You see, while Joseph was sitting in that prison cell, probably questioning everything, God was orchestrating the biggest wealth transfer in Egyptian history. One dream, one divine connection, and suddenly this former prisoner becomes the second most powerful man in Egypt, controlling the nation's entire wealth. Talk about a promotion. But let me tell you something profound about God's timing. Joseph didn't just randomly stumble into success. Every setback, every betrayal, every moment in that prison was preparation for his position of power. God was developing his character, his wisdom, and his ability to handle wealth responsibly. Now, here's why this matters for you today. Just like Joseph, you might feel like you're in your own personal prison of financial limitation. Maybe it's a dead-end job, mounting bills, or dreams that seem impossible. But God isn't just planning to get you out of debt. He's positioning you for wealth that will impact nations. Let me break down God's specific plan for your wealth. First, he's arranging divine connections right now. Just like Pharaoh was Joseph's divine connection, God is positioning people of influence in your path. These aren't just random networking opportunities. These are ordained meetings that will catapult you into your destiny. Second, he's preparing you for supernatural business opportunities. Remember how Joseph's business plan saved Egypt? God is downloading million-dollar ideas into your spirit right now. Ideas that will solve problems and create wealth on a scale you've never imagined. Third, and this is where it gets really exciting, he's strategically positioning you for what I call the kingdom wealth transfer. Just as Egypt's wealth came under Joseph's authority, God is about to shift massive resources into the hands of his chosen ones. You know, it reminds me of a time when I was counseling a young entrepreneur. He laughed when I told him God was about to make him a millionaire. "Me," he said, "I can barely make my rent." 6 months later, he called me in tears. A random meeting led to a business partnership that turned into a multi-million-dollar company. Random? I don't think so. But here's the most mind-blowing part. Just like Joseph's wealth positioned him to save nations, your coming wealth isn't just about you. It's about positioning God's resources in the hands of those who will use it for his kingdom purposes. Think about it. Why did God choose Joseph? Because he knew Joseph would use his position to save not just Egypt, but his own family. The very ones who betrayed him. The very ones who betrayed him. That's the kind of heart God is looking for in his millionaires. And speaking of divine timing, what's happening in your life right now might be eerily similar to Joseph's story just before his breakthrough. Those obstacles, they're actually setups for your comeback. Those delays, the divine alignments in process. But there's something even more extraordinary about to unfold in your story. You see, while your critics are still talking about your past, God is about to display his power through your future in a way that will leave them speechless. And that brings us to exactly how God is going to silence every voice that ever doubted you. Part 5. Silencing the critics. Have you ever wondered why those who laughed at your dreams suddenly fall silent? Remember those moments when people said you'd never amount to anything? What if I told you that God has already planned the perfect response to every critic who ever doubted you? Let me take you back to a story that mirrors your journey. The story of Joseph, a young man with dreams so big that his own brothers mocked him. Picture this: a 17-year-old boy standing before his family, sharing visions of his future greatness. You can almost hear the laughter, the scoffs, the dismissive comments. "Look at this dreamer," they said. Sound familiar? Maybe you've heard similar words. "You'll never be wealthy. That business idea will fail. Who do you think you are?" But here's where it gets interesting. Just like in your situation, God had a divine setup in motion. Joseph's critics, his own brothers, sold him into slavery, thinking they were destroying his dreams. They probably high-fived each other, thinking they'd silenced the dreamer forever. But God, and I love these but God moments in Scripture, God was orchestrating something extraordinary. Through every setback, the slavery, the false accusations, the prison time, Joseph kept his divine connection. Each failure was actually a setup for success. You know what's almost funny? Those same brothers who threw Joseph in a pit ended up bowing before him in Pharaoh's court. Talk about a plot twist. Imagine their faces when they realized the person controlling their destiny was the same dreamer they mocked years ago. Now, let's bring this home to your situation. Those co-workers who snicker at your ambitions, the family members who roll their eyes at your faith, the friends who politely suggest you should be more realistic. God is about to use your success to silence them all. But here's the beautiful part, and this is what makes you different from the critics. When your breakthrough comes, it won't be about revenge. Just like Joseph, your success will actually become their blessing. How's that for divine irony? I declare that your critics are about to witness something unprecedented. Their mockery is transforming into amazement. Their doubt is becoming your platform for testimony. The same people who questioned your calling will soon be asking for your advice. You see, God's strategy for silencing critics isn't through arguments or explanations. It's through undeniable results. When God elevates you to millionaire status, it won't require a word from your mouth. Your life will be the loudest response. I can almost see it now. Those awkward family gatherings where they used to change the subject when you talked about your dreams. They're about to become celebrations of your testimony. Those prayer requests for realistic goals, they're transforming into requests for your wisdom. And here's the moment that gives me chills. When God shifts you into this new financial dimension, it won't just silence the critics. It will convert them into witnesses of God's faithfulness. They won't just see your success. They'll see the hand of God so clearly that their criticism will turn to conviction. This isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving God right. Your success isn't just for you. It's a testimony that will open doors for others to believe in divine possibilities. But as powerful as it is to watch your critics become your cheerleaders, there's something even more important at stake here. You see, God isn't just planning to change their words about you. He's planning to use your success to transform lives. So hold on, chosen one. Those whispers of doubt around you, they're about to become shouts of praise. Those smirks of disbelief, they're about to become looks of amazement, because when God decides to silence your critics, He does it in a way that leaves no room for debate. Remember, the same God who turned Joseph's pit into a palace, who transformed David's shepherd's staff into a king's scepter, is about to turn your critics into your greatest testimony. And that's not just a promise. It's a divine declaration that's already in motion. But before I reveal the next crucial piece of your millionaire destiny, let me show you how God is positioning you for something even greater than silencing critics. Part 6. King Purpose of Your Wealth. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stumble into wealth, while others are specifically chosen for it? What if I told you that your coming wealth isn't just about you, but about something far greater? And what if I shared that God has already written your name in what I call the Divine Fortune 500? Let me take you back to an extraordinary moment in biblical history, the story of Joseph in Egypt. Picture this: a young man sold into slavery by his own brothers, sitting in a cold, dark prison cell. Talk about a tough break, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Joseph wasn't just dealing with bad family drama. He was part of God's master plan for economic transformation. You see, while he was interpreting dreams about fat and skinny cows, and yes, that was actually a thing, God was positioning him to become the world's first divine wealth manager. Through his God-given wisdom, Joseph didn't just become wealthy. He saved an entire civilization from economic collapse. But here's the million-dollar question. Pun absolutely intended. Why did God choose Joseph? It wasn't just because he could interpret dreams or rock a designer coat. It was because God knew Joseph would use his wealth for kingdom purpose. Fast forward to today, and guess what? You're in a similar position. I know. You might be thinking, but I'm not interpreting Pharaoh's dreams or running Egypt's economy. True, but God's pattern hasn't changed. He's still in the business of raising up chosen ones for wealth distribution. Think about Solomon for a moment. When God appeared to him, he didn't just give him wealth, he gave him wisdom first. Why? Because true kingdom wealth isn't about buying bigger houses or fancier cars, though there's nothing wrong with those. It's about having the wisdom to be what I call a divine distribution center. Here's something that might blow your mind. In the original Hebrew text, the word for wealth, cheil, doesn't just mean money. It means influence, ability, and strength. When God decides to make you a millionaire, he's not just transferring dollars to your account. He's transferring authority. Remember David? Before he ever saw a palace, he was faithfully tending sheep. But here's the kicker. He was learning kingdom principles while everyone else was focused on kingdom position. And that's exactly what God is doing with you right now. You see, your coming wealth has 3 divine purposes. First, it's for restoration. Just like Joseph restored his family despite their betrayal, your wealth will heal broken relationships and restore lost opportunities. Ever noticed how some of the people who doubted you the most are about to become your biggest supporters? That's not coincidence. That's kingdom purpose. Second, it's for innovation. Solomon didn't just build a temple. He revolutionized ancient architecture and trade. Your wealth will fund new ideas, support divine innovations, and create solutions that the world desperately needs. You're not just becoming rich, you're becoming a solution carrier. Third, and this is crucial, it's for multiplication. In God's economy, wealth isn't meant to pool, it's meant to flow. Think of yourself as a divine pipeline, not a reservoir. The wealth coming your way isn't just for your consumption. It's for kingdom distribution. Let me share something powerful that happened just last week. I met a businessman who had been praying for a breakthrough for 15 years. Nothing seemed to work until he realized something profound. God wasn't waiting on his prayers. God was waiting on his prayers. God was waiting on his purpose. The moment he shifted from asking for wealth to asking for kingdom impact, everything changed. Within 3 months, he closed deals that had been stalled for years. This is why your wealth transfer is different. You're not just becoming wealthy. You're becoming what I call a kingdom wealth carrier. Your bank account is about to become a divine distribution center. Your business isn't just going to be profitable, it's going to be prophetic. And here's the beautiful part. When wealth has kingdom purpose, it multiplies differently. It's like having a divine multiplication factor attached to every dollar. You're not going to have to chase money anymore. Money is about to chase you. But before we dive into the prophetic declarations that will activate this wealth transfer, there's something crucial you need to understand about divine timing and positioning. Remember, when God chooses someone for wealth, he's not just selecting a recipient, he's appointing a distributor. Your millionaire status isn't just a blessing, it's a responsibility. And that's exactly why you're watching this right now. God didn't just choose you for wealth. He chose you for kingdom impact. Part 7. Preparing for your breakthrough. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to catch every divine blessing, while others wait endlessly? What if I told you that the difference isn't luck, but preparation? And what if I shared with you a biblical secret so powerful, it transformed an ordinary shepherd boy into the wealthiest king in history? Let me take you back to a story that changed everything I understood about divine prosperity. Picture this: Jerusalem, about 3,000 years ago. A young shepherd boy named David, probably no different from you and me, standing before the greatest giant of his time. But here's the part of the story most people miss. It wasn't the stone that made David victorious. It was his preparation. See, long before David faced Goliath, he spent years in the wilderness, those lonely nights watching sheep. They weren't punishment, they were preparation. While everyone else saw a shepherd boy, God saw a shepherd boy. God saw a future millionaire king. Sound familiar? Maybe you're in your own wilderness right now, wondering when your breakthrough will come. But here's where it gets interesting. David had already killed lions and bears before he ever faced Goliath. Did you catch that? He was preparing for his million-dollar moment without even knowing it. Every struggle, every late-night shift, every rejected application, they're not setbacks. They're setups for your supernatural wealth transfer. Let me share something that might shock you. In the original Hebrew text of Psalms 23, you know, "The Lord is my shepherd." There's a fascinating detail most people miss. When David writes, "My cup runneth over," he's not just talking about spiritual blessings. The Hebrew word used here, revaya, literally means abundance to the point of overflow. It's a prophetic declaration of both spiritual and financial overflow. But here's the million-dollar question. How do you position yourself for this divine wealth transfer? Well, let me break it down into what I call the Kingdom Wealth Preparation Protocol. These aren't just steps. They're divine positioning strategies. First, you need to understand something crucial. God doesn't just drop million-dollar opportunities into unprepared hands. Think about Joseph in Egypt. Before he controlled the nation's wealth, he managed Potiphar's house. Before he ran the prison's resources, he served faithfully in chains. Every level was a lesson in stewardship. Here's what most prosperity preachers won't tell you. Your current job, no matter how small it seems, is your training ground for wealth. That annoying boss, they're teaching you patience for when you'll manage hundreds. They're teaching you patience for when you'll manage hundreds. That tight budget, it's your masterclass in stewardship for when you'll handle millions. But let me get really practical with you. There are 3 specific things you need to do right now to prepare for your wealth transfer. 1. The Solomon strategy. Every morning before you check your phone or your email, spend 20 minutes studying wealth principles in the Bible. Solomon didn't just pray for wisdom. He studied it religiously. 2. The Joseph Protocol. Start managing what you have like it's $1 million. Joseph managed prison resources like they were Pharaoh's treasures. Your breakthrough will often come through how you handle what's already in your hands. 3. The Daniel Declaration. Make a bold declaration of your coming wealth 3 times daily. Daniel prayed 3 times a day, even when it was illegal. Your words are creating your world. Now, here's something fascinating about timing. In biblical numerology, the number 40 represents preparation. Moses had 40 years in the wilderness before his breakthrough. Jesus fasted 40 days before his ministry. If you're in a season of preparation right now, you're in good company. But unlike them, your breakthrough has already been scheduled by divine appointment. Let me tell you about Sarah, one of our community members. She followed these principles for just 40 days. On day 41, she received a phone call about a business opportunity that literally changed her life overnight. Was it coincidence? Chuckles in God's economy, there are no coincidences. You see, what's happening right now is bigger than just your financial breakthrough. God is positioning you for what I call a kingdom wealth transfer. Just like he transferred the wealth of Egypt to Joseph, the wealth of the Philistines to David, and the wealth of the Philistines to David, and the wealth of Persia to Esther, he's about to transfer supernatural wealth to your hands. But here's the key, and this is crucial. Your preparation determines your portion. The size of your vessel determines the size of your blessing. That's why this preparation phase isn't just important. It's essential. As we wrap up this divine preparation protocol, I want you to do something powerful. Type prepared in the comments if you're ready to receive this supernatural wealth transfer. It's not just a comment. It's a declaration to the spiritual realm that you're positioning yourself for prosperity. Remember, your breakthrough isn't just coming. It's already been decided. The only question is, are you prepared to receive it? Now, let me share with you the final key that will unlock your millionaire destiny. Conclusion, the prophetic declaration. You know what's amazing about this journey we've shared today. It's not just about becoming a millionaire. It's about understanding why God has chosen you for this specific time, this specific purpose, and this specific blessing. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've discovered together. Remember when we started, and you might have thought your financial struggles were a punishment? Well, plot twist. They were actually preparation for your millionaire destiny. Just like Joseph's prison was his pathway to the palace, your challenges have been building your character for wealth. Think about it. God doesn't make mistakes, and he certainly doesn't waste pain. Every rejection, every setback, every moment you felt overlooked, they weren't roadblocks. They weren't roadblocks. They were stepping stones. And now you're standing at the threshold of your breakthrough. Here's what makes this different from every other financial message you've heard. This isn't about positive thinking or working harder. This is about divine selection and supernatural timing. And if you're still watching right now, let me tell you something powerful. That's not a coincidence. That's confirmation. But here's where it gets real. God has written your millionaire check, but are you ready to cash it? Are you prepared to step into the wealth he's already decided for you? I want to hear your story. Drop a ready in the comments if you're prepared to receive this supernatural wealth transfer. Share your breakthrough moment. When did you first realize God was preparing you for millionaire status? Your testimony might be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. And hey, If you felt that divine nudge throughout this message, if something inside you has been saying this is for me, then do two things right now. First, hit that subscribe button. Why? Because we're on this journey together, and I'll be sharing more divine wealth strategies that you won't want to miss. Let's hit 50,000 subscribers together, because when we unite in faith, miracles happen. Second, share this message. Someone in your circle is waiting for exactly this word. They might be on the verge of giving up, but your share could be their saving grace. Remember this, your millionaire breakthrough isn't just possible, it's already been decided. The only question is, will you be bold enough to claim it? Thank you for being part of this divine appointment today. This isn't goodbye. It's just the beginning of your millionaire journey. Keep watching, keep believing, and most importantly, keep preparing. Your wealth transfer is closer than you think. God bless you, my chosen ones. See you in the next divine revelation.